Welcome back to KSNT News here on your Thursday morning. This morning we welcome Kansas State Treasurer Jake LaTurner with us in our remote studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, great to have you with us as well. So, our state revenue, our finances had been in relatively good shape as we went into the coronavirus pandemic. What's it looking like now, and what's this economic impact looking like in our future?
Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of folks hurting out there, and our state revenues reflect that. We anticipated about a $900 million ending balance at the end of our fiscal year on June 30th, and now we're looking at about a $200 million ending balance, which puts us in the red next year. So the governor and the legislature are going to have some difficult choices to make. What I think is important for us to do is to first and foremost do our job, make sure the state continues to function, and for us to be mindful about why we're in this position. We're in this position because Kansas businesses have been closed, Kansas families are hurting, and tax revenues have declined as a result of that. So I think it's important that we always remember why we're in this predicament. I was talking to a restaurant owner just the other day who said, "Jake, we've been open for 20 years and I just don't know if we're going to be able to make it now." Kansans are facing some really tough realities, and so their government needs to rise to the occasion and make sure that we're fixing these problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the stay-at-home order has now expired, a lot of businesses are starting to reopen or have a plan to reopen. And that question is coming up. When can we expect that economic recovery to happen for our businesses?
We hope as soon as possible. We hope that Kansans will get back into some sense of normalcy, while of course being safe and taking the proper precautions. We were at basically full employment in the state, of just a little over 3% unemployment rate, and they're anticipating that doubling before the end of the year. So a lot of Kansans are going to have a difficult time, and the best thing we can do is get things up and running as quickly as possible, while of course taking the proper precautions.
Yeah, absolutely. The precautions are very necessary, and we need to make sure we're doing what we need to do to keep our state afloat, but the money's got to come from somewhere. So where are we expecting to get the money to get back up to where we were before the pandemic, including the federal COVID relief funding?
Well, it's a great question. The state of Kansas has received over $1.2 billion from the federal government. About $200 million of that went to Sedgwick and Johnson counties. They're the only two counties in the state that qualified because they have populations over 500,000. So the state has about $1 billion in federal money. And there is some decisions still being made by the governor, and when the legislature comes back for their one-day session, it appears that there is some desire to weigh in on exactly how that money is spent. There are federal regulations that don't allow the state to plug up a budget deficit with that money, but it needs to be used for COVID-19 related expenditures. So that remains to be seen, but we have received the money, and we will soon see exactly how that's going to be able to help the state get through this time.
Okay, well, the economic impact of the pandemic is a huge topic right now. Thank you so much, State Treasurer Jake LaTurner, here with us this morning. We appreciate it.